Hello world, welcome to my channel. I am Pushpak, making Python easy for you. I make sure not to compromise and eliminate complex topics in the name of easiness. If you are new here, smash that like button and subscribe for more tutorials as well as other awesome content. Before we learn about data types, I wanted you to know about a concept called as comments. It is exactly what it sounds like. Comments are extra information we put inside our code to make it readable and easy to understand. Comments are optional, but they are super useful. To add a comment, all you have to do is add a symbol hash, and anything you write after this hash on this line is a comment. These comments are completely ignored by Python when running the program. By the way, if you are new, I have explained everything you see on the screen in the previous videos. This is the third tutorial in the series, so watch them and come back again. Save this and run the program in Windows PowerShell. As you can see, output is exactly the same because Python completely ignores this comment. Even if you write some code as a comment like print I am a comment and run the program, you can see nothing is changed. Let's go back to our code and remove the hash symbol and run the program. You can see I am a comment printed on the screen. Now you might say, why should I write comments? I know what the lines in my code are doing. Well, as a beginner, you are writing very basic and simple code. As you grow your programming skills, program become much complex and your code gets bigger also. And if you are not writing comments, the code gets messier and messier. If multiple people are working on the same project, other won't be able to know what you are trying to do. In short, comments are for writing efficient, scalable and much more readable code. So whatever code you write, make adding comment a habit. Here's a little assignment for you. Add comments in the operations.py file we created in the last video. So now that you know about comments, let's learn about data types. When I try to explain programming concepts to new people, generally I like to compare programming languages with English. But in the case of data types, there aren't any direct analogies. Fortunately, adverb, noun, etc. can give you some intuition about the data types. So there are adverbs, adjective, noun and articles in English. They have some unique properties. Each one is used at a specific part of a sentence. If used incorrectly, sentences become meaningless, like this example shown on the screen. In the programming, data types are kind of the same thing. You see, computers do not understand alphabets at all. They only understand two numbers, 0 and 1. You might say, that can't be correct. My computer is showing alphabets correctly. I can use normal English to search things on Google and my computer adds subtract numbers other than 0 and 1. My friend, this is possible now. This wasn't possible in the early versions of computer. Decades of research have made this possible. All of the characters, alphabets, numbers and symbols are represented using some combination of 0 and 1, which is generally referred as binary code. That's why in computers, capital A and small a are different because they have different binary code. Now, binary code for letter A is like this and binary code for digit 4 is like this. 1 is an alphabet and 1 is a digit. They have different characteristics. For example, alphabets cannot be added, subtracted, multiplied or divided. On the other hand, arithmetic operations can be performed on digits. So, scientists had to come up with a way to identify them, to retrieve their respective properties. This is the reason data types came into existence. Now, recall the previous code we have written. Wherever we wanted to display something as it is, we enclose that part into quotes, like this. This is a data type called as string. And wherever we wanted to perform some arithmetic operations, that is digits, we did not use quotes to enclose those digits. The data type we used here is called as integer. we don't have to mention the data type of a variable while declaring it in Python, but it is there. Python can identify the types of a variable automatically. Other languages like C++ don't allow that. In C++ and all the other languages, you have to specify the data type of the variable while declaring it. This is the difference between declaring a variable for Python and some of the other languages. Now that you know about the basics of data types, let's explore them. Python has 5 fundamental data types. First is integer. Second, floating point number, basically a fancy name for decimal numbers. Third is complex number. Fourth is string, and fifth is a boolean number. This boolean data type only have two possible values, either true or false. We will see usage of boolean as we go further. That's pretty much all the basic data types. However, these are only basic data types. There are at least a million data types derived based on the basic data types. You can even define your own data type if need arises, but at the fundamental level, there are basically only 5 data types. Let's do some hands-on coding and explore the data types further. So I am in my usual folder. I will create file and name it dtypes.py and open it. Now let's create a variable of each kind. For integer a is equal to 275, for float b is equal to 32.8, for a complex number c is equal to 3 plus 4j, and for a string d is equal to I am a string, and for boolean a is equal to true. Recall what we talked at the start of the video. It is super important to add comments. So I will quickly add comments in our code. First thing we will see is how to ask Python to tell us the type of a variable. You can do this by a function called as type, and we will put a variable inside the brackets and enclose the whole function inside print. We have already seen many functions like this in the previous videos. Basically, this type take a variable as an input and output its type. You can store this inside a variable and then print it out, or you can directly give this whole function to the print function as input, like I did here. So output of type function can directly pass to the print function. Save the file and launch the PowerShell window and run the code. You can see type in printed on the screen right here. Now here's a little assignment for you. Go ahead and repeat this for all the other variables we just declared. Add a suitable comment and a message in each print statement telling about which variable data type it is displayed. Something like this. We have seen how to do it in the last video. In the meantime, I will do the same in my code too. Pause the video and get on with it. Did you do the task? Very good. I also did it. Let's run the code and you can see all the data types printed with its message. Let's look at some operations now. If you added, subtracted, multiplied or divided an integer type with a float type, result will always be a float. Let's take some example. 3 and 4.5, 2 and 2.5, 3 and 2.0. Let's quickly print them out. Similarly, if you performed any operation either on int or float with a complex number, result will always be a complex number. Here are some examples. Let's print them out and run the code. You can see all of the results are complex. So there is a kind of a hierarchical structure to these 3 data types. Also, it is quite obvious that if you perform any operation on float with float, the result will always be a float. And same thing is true for complex numbers. Now, if you added, subtracted and multiplied an integer with another integer, result will always be integer. But integer to integer division is a little bit different. For example, for the division 6 divided by 2. Here, both are integer but answer will be of type float, that is 3.0. This happens because some of the division do result in decimal answers. For example, if you divided 6 by 4, answer will be 1.5. Hence, integer to integer division will always be a float. Also, do note that 2, 2.0, 3, 3.0 and 6 and 6.0 This type of number are still have same mathematical meaning, but they are of different data types. Keep that in mind. Now, there are two data types left, string and a bool. Boolean operations are a bit different. We will look at them in the future videos. Now, we are left with a string data type. There are likely more than 100 types of operation that can be performed on string. We will have a dedicated 2 to 3 videos on them, but for now, I will just explain two of the most simplest operations. You can add two strings using addition operator. Let's define two strings. str1 is equal to good morning and str2 is equal to gentleman. Now we will add this two string and store the result in a variable called as message. So message is equal to str1 plus a space plus str2, and then we will print the message. This will add the two string and resulting string will be like good morning gentleman. Let's verify that by running the program, and it is correct. Secondly, you can multiply a string with an integer to duplicate it. For example, message is equal to banana multiplied by 5 and print message. Run the code. There is a banana printed 5 times on the screen. There are no spaces in between them. That's easy to fix. Just add a space in the code like this. Run the code and problem solved. Also note that string cannot be subtracted or divided. If you try to do that, program will just give you an error. Moving on, remember in the last video in our operations.py file, we tried to take this number from user. This code gave us an type error. Let's run this again and there it is, the error message. Pause the video and think what might be the cause of this error. Did you get it? Very good. I am proud of you. I will tell you the solution anyway. Thing is, anything you print out on the screen and anything you take from the outside is read as a string. Make sense? Look at the error. Our first number 23 is read as a string, that is double quote 23, and second number 5 is also read as string 5. Now since string can be added together, our first operation, which is addition, did not give us an error. But answer is wrong because the string were just joined together as we saw just a while ago. Second operation was subtraction, and since subtraction cannot be performed on strings, we got an error. So to solve this error, we will have to convert this string written by input function to an integer. Then rest of our code will work just fine. So now let's look at data types conversion. Data type conversion is pretty straightforward. In Python, you have one function for each type: int for integer, float for floating point, str for string, complex for complex numbers, and bool for boolean numbers. All you have to do is use this function and pass a variable for converting. Let's create a new file, dtype_cvt.py, and open it. First, we will look at converting string into integer, float, and complex numbers. So let's create three new strings. str1 is equal to 32 as an integer, str2 is equal to 5.62 as a float, str3 is equal to 3 plus 2j as a complex number. Then we will print them with their data types like this. Now let's convert them. X is equal to int str1 for integer conversion, y is equal to float str2 for float conversion, and z is equal to complex str3 for complex conversion, and print them just like before. Alright, save this and run the program. You can see that data type is now converted. Now you can perform the operation on these converted numbers. There's one thing. If you want to convert a float string, this str2, into an integer, it does not work directly. If you write test is equal to int str2 and print that out, then run the code, you will get an error. So to convert this, first you have to convert it into a float, then convert it into it like this. Test1 is equal to float str2 and test2 is equal to int test1, then print test2. Run this and now it's working. Also, you can convert float into integer and integer into float pretty much all the time. No issues there. Similarly, you can literally convert anything into the string using str function. You will rarely see an error. Finally, coming to the Boolean conversion, it do not have any practical real use as far as I know, except checking if a variable is empty or not. This bool function only return true if an input is either true or 1 or a string. For any other case, bool function will return a false. Now that you know data types and their conversion, go ahead and fix this operations.py program. You have everything you need to know, so I am not giving you any hint. Consider this as an assignment. All the best. That's it for today. Stick around for extra bit. As usual, there's a link down in the description that will take you to a quiz. Make sure you click the subscribe button and like the video. Welcome to Extra Bits. Remember string operation we did? Yes, this string addition and string multiplication. Calling them addition and multiplication is a bit misleading because this just joining the string and this just repeating the same string. Hence, correct names for these are concatenation for this and repetition for this. I felt necessary to tell you this because that's how they are referred in pretty much everywhere. Also, look at this float string to integer conversion. It really sucked that we had to use 2 lines and 2 variables to do that. Remember, more the number of variable, more the RAM your program will consume. So, can you think of any way to do this in single line? Come on now, we looked at shortcut in the last video. Did you get it? Great, I will tell you anyway. Just put the whole float function into in function and there you go. If you love the video, a like will be super appreciated and subscribe to the channel for more awesome content. And hit the bell icon so you don't miss any future update. Also, if you have some question or doubt, feel free to comment it down. See you in the next video.